And now let's join Tom Arnson and family in singing the New English translation of the Aramaic version of the Lord's Prayer.
Holy Spirit, creator and life of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire flows through ours as energy fills our forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment. Untangle the knots of error that bind us as we also release others. Don't let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act from our highest nature. From your presence comes the glorious harmony of life. May these words be fertile ground from which our future grows. Amen.
The guitar was lovely. It's beautiful to hear multiple instruments on that song. Thank you so much. So now I want to share with you on this Christmas morning, as some of us, most of us, I believe, have opened up some presents, that we have another gift this Christmas morning. It is my honor this morning to not only introduce Christmas service, but what I consider to be a small Christmas miracle. As you know, last week we bid goodbye to Reverend Cynthia Bricks and Dr. Will Keepin. And for some, that left an opening. Metaphysically, we know that when we can be comfortable with openings, that it creates a vacuum for something new to come into our lives. So this Christmas morning, we take great pleasure in announcing the appointment of Reverend Bob Trask as our new senior minister.
Yeah.
Which I'm just so excited about and gratified. I've known Bob since the 1980s. And for those of you that are good at math, that's a long time. And I'm just thrilled to pieces that Reverend Bob has agreed to join us and to lead us as we go into the next chapter of Unity of Vancouver. So I will not say any more, but just ask you to join me in gratitude in your hearts that we're having such a beautiful and smooth transition. And with that said, please join me in welcoming to lead us in his first meditation as the Senior Minister of Unity of Vancouver, Reverend Bob Trask.
Thank you, Randy. I am deeply, deeply honored. And thank you, my dear friends, Vancouver Unity. We are now family. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, my dear family. Bob and Georgine DeWald, thank you for being here. Welcome aboard. Let's all close our eyes and relax for a moment. On this beautiful Christmas morning, allow the Christmas spirit to flow into your heart. Allow yourself to be renewed. You have gone through so much over this last year, so much in your life. It's now time to be born again, to be healed. And that can happen if you will just open up now and let the Christmas spirit come in. So if you'll close your eyes, put both feet flat on the floor and your butt up against the back of your chair. And then take a deep breath, not a power breath, but just a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for about 3 or 4 seconds, and then let your body just relax and let the breath just flow out from you. Flow out from you, and let your body relax. And let that exhalation be at least twice as long as the inhalation. So I'm going to be quiet and just let you do that for a couple of minutes, and then I'll be back. Please just stay in your meditation and continue to breathe as you are. And imagine yourself being an angel. Just imagine yourself being an angel, looking down and in upon that stable where that girl, that 17 or 18-year-old girl who has just become a mother, and that 19 or 20-year-old boy who has just become a father are looking at their miracle and the miracle of the world. And what you feel around you is an ambience of light and of energy that has never been felt before. The world is changing now. This ambience, this light, this feeling of cleanliness and clarity, this is called the Christmas spirit. Just immerse yourself in that now while I'm quiet. Thank you. When you come back from that meditation, please bring with you that spirit. Don't leave it behind. Keep it in your heart. Let it pervade throughout your entire body, every cell, awake and smiling. And come back now.
One, two, three. 1, 2. star drew nigh to the northwest over Bethlehem. It took its rest, and there it did both stop and stay, right over the place where Jesus lay. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for your beautiful, beautiful music. I so much appreciate that. It sets us off. My dear friends, it's been done. The Christ child is born 2,000 years ago, and yet that Christ child is still alive in your heart. I'm going to be using a cheat sheet here. I hope you don't mind, but there's so many things to be said on Christmas, and so I wrote down a few of them that I didn't want to forget. To begin with, the truth about Jesus is that he didn't come to teach us to be Christians. He himself was not a Christian. He didn't come to teach us to be Christians. He came to teach us to be Christ's. He said, I come that ye may have life and have it more abundantly. And everywhere he went, he taught us. For one thing, he never called himself God. He said he was the Son of Man. And secondly, he said that we were at least as capable as he was. And John remembers him saying, I tell you the truth. Anyone who has faith in me will do what I've been doing, and he will do even greater things than these. What made that first Christmas 2,000 years ago echo through all these years and not fade, not dissipate a bit, but in fact grow stronger every year? What made that happen? It was called the Christmas spirit, wasn't it? That's what we felt when we were looking in on the angel, or as an angel on the crib and on Mary and on Joseph. What we were looking in and what we were feeling was the Christmas spirit. The Christmas spirit is not about Christmas. It's about Christness. And Jesus the Christ had that aura, that ambience about him throughout his whole 33-year life. He never let it go. That's what attracted people to him. That's also what made him so dangerous to the non-believers, that he carried with him a deep joy and a deep confidence that he called faith. Said that these things you see me doing, you'll do these and more, but you need to have faith. How much faith? Well, in the enormous darkness of your life and all the doubts, you just need to have faith the size of a mustard seed, tiny little bit, and focus on that, and all the rest will be given to you. What was that newness, that life-changing feeling? There's no other feeling like it, is there? At Christmas time, there's a feeling that reaches into the darkest parts of us and awakens something that we can't even describe. When we were little kids, it was like the world changed. The world changed at Christmas. Oh yeah, we wanted presents and we liked the smell of the Christmas tree and all that was really cool, but something changed. As I said during our candle lighting service, when I was a little kid, I remember that something changed around me and I was wondering what the heck it could be. It wasn't the Christmas tree and it wasn't the presents. It wasn't the music. What I finally decided that what it was was that the adults changed. The adults changed. They became more loving. They became more relaxed. They became more confident. They became more assured that there was goodness in the world and goodness in each other. They stopped worrying and doubting. And for us little kids, it was like we were at last at one with the elders. We were at last flowing with the adults. We didn't feel frightened or judged. We just felt loved. Unfortunately, not too long after Christmas, that went away and everybody went back to the same old game. But that Christmas would come again. And the year till the next Christmas, do you remember? Oh my gosh, it was forever till the next Christmas. And when that next Christmas came, there we were again, on fire and excited. And again, that spirit pervaded the atmosphere. So of course, when Jesus came and that Christness was born, only a small percentage of the people actually saw it, got it. Only a small percentage of the people actually accepted the Christ, actually accepted Jesus as a Christ. And Christ is not his name. If he were still alive and living in Bethlehem, if you sent him a letter and it said Jesus Christ on the envelope, he wouldn't get it because there was nobody named Jesus Christ. His name was Joshua. He was a Christ. That's a consciousness. That's a state of being. And we're going to talk in a minute about what that state of being is and how we can begin to honor that within us. Because surely that Christ child is alive in us. So when he came, no one recognized him, even though people had been talking about him, particularly the Jews, and waiting for the Messiah for 2,000 years. They'd been waiting, knowing that this Messiah, this great teacher, this great anointed one would come and lead them and rebuild the temple. And of course, when he came, they didn't recognize him. And to this day, most of us don't recognize him. But we think we do. And I know so many people who pray to Jesus, but I think most of them are praying to a metaphor, to an image, not to the real Jesus. Like, I developed a program years ago called Breaking Free for at-risk kids to be played in a schoolroom for 2 weeks. It had, different episodes, but it went on for 2 weeks and it was like half an hour each day. And the purpose of that was to lift them out of their sense of failure and their sense of self-degradation and give them the image and the interest of being all that they could be. And so in order to make sure I had this right, before I filmed it, I went to one of the most intensely at-risk schools, and I went into a classroom. I was given the full time of the class. I went into the classroom, and I already knew the script by heart, so I just talked to them, and I just taught them. And you know what? They didn't pay a bit of attention to me. Instead, they were looking around. They turned their desks around so they could talk to each other. Some of them turned their desks around so their backs were to me. I never will forget one girl, sweet girl, sitting in the back, in the right-hand back of the classroom on the floor in the corner with her head in her hands. They couldn't see me. They couldn't hear me. I wasn't part of their belief system. The Christ is not part of most people's belief system. See, we grew up thinking that Jesus was this blue-eyed, very handsome man with soft brown hair and beard and a real benevolence about him. The benevolence probably is true. The rest of it isn't. He was an Israeli, so he had dark skin, a broad forehead, an aquiline nose that was offset by two big brown eyes. He had jet black hair and a jet black beard. He wasn't at all the image that we've been seeing. So if the real Christ, maybe not Jesus the Christ, but Christ, if a real Christ, totally committed, totally dedicated, 100% living Christ, met you today, came to you, would you recognize her or him? Would you? That's a good question, because I think the kids in the classroom were a good example, because I went back to that classroom after I had talked to them and after I had filmed that. I went back to that classroom and the teacher played that video on a screen, TV screen at the front of the room. And I looked through a window in a door in the back of the room and watched. Every single kid, including the girl on the floor, were in their desks watching that video. They could believe in television, but they couldn't believe in the real guy. If you see your little granddaughter or your son sitting on the floor watching Sesame Street, and you come into the room and say, "What are you watching, honey?" And they say, "I'm watching Big Bird." Are they really? They're watching the flickering lights on a piece of glass. That's not Big Bird. That's a metaphor, kind of, an example, an image of Big Bird, but it's not Big Bird. And the thing is that we need to be able to recognize that Christ. And why? Why? Because the truth is that you are the Christ. You. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You came here to be a Christ. That's the only reason that you're here, to fulfill your purpose. Now I hear a lot of minds snapping shut, saying, "The Christ, I can't be a Christ. I think I'd know if I was the Christ. Not me. There's no way I'm a Christ." I know, I can just feel that, because it takes a lot of courage to step out of our daily life and our daily routine and our daily self-focus, and to focus instead on being a blessing to the world around us. Not to think, what can you do for me? But to think, what can I do for you? John Kennedy said that so well. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. That's a Christ comment. A comment that says, we are here to bless, to enrich. And see, the interesting thing is that there never has been and never will be another you. Ever, ever, ever. Your iris print, the neuronal pattern of your brain, your thumbprints, the resonance in your voice, the way your cells are organized, all of those give you a uniqueness such that your thinking, your observation, your perception of reality is different than anyone else. You're watching me right now, Bob Trask, and you're listening to my voice. But you know what? That other person in the room is not seeing the same Bob Trask and is not hearing the same voice, because they're seeing and hearing me through their filters. And so they're not really even seeing the Bob Trask. They're seeing themselves in Bob Trask, which is actually pretty sensible, since we are individual incarnations of one being. We are individual incarnations of one. So I think that the reason that we came here certainly is to fulfill our purpose. I mean, we decided to come into, we are eternal spirits. We were never born. We will never die. We have been here since forever, forever, forever. We're the ones. You are the one that has come. Never has there been another one like you. And the purpose that you have is to grow in wisdom and joy. The purpose, your divine purpose, is to spiritually grow, enrich yourself in wisdom and joy. And that's the path to Christhood. That's the path. Now, when I say wisdom and joy, I can tell you that Jesus in his life did three things, and he talked about it. He followed the admonitions of faith, hope, and love. It was called charity, but faith, hope, and love. And he said, of these, love's the greatest. But he named all three because all three were vitally important. And faith is the belief within ourselves, the belief that all is good, that all is right. When you check in with yourself right this minute and ask you, do you know that this pandemic will end? And do you know that we will bring the country and the world back together, not only the way it was, but better? Do you know that you have a strong body and a strong mind, and that you are healthy, and that you will continue to be healthy? Do you know that you are loved? Do you know that you are blessed? Do you know that you are free? Do you know that you're safe? Do you trust that you're safe? See, that's what Jesus was doing. Jesus was going around with the Christmas spirit, and he was breathing it out with his lectures and with his presence everywhere he went. The Christmas spirit, the Christness spirit. That's what we are supposed to be doing here. But we can't do it if we're not growing in wisdom and joy, because that path to wisdom and joy is the path of Christness. That's who we are. And when we're not being that, we're lost. And life becomes difficult, doesn't it? So that path to wisdom and joy, in order for us to follow that path, in order for us to follow the path of faith, the path of hope, the path of love, in order for us to follow those paths, don't we have to let go of our old belief? Excuse me. When we're I so apologize. When we're on the air live, these things happen. So in order for us to reach that state, we have to be in joy. We have to be living in joy. We have to be the parents of our souls. We have to be teaching ourselves. I wanted to read you something that John said, that he remembered Jesus saying. And this was in Paul's letter to the Corinthians, when he said about love, about that Christness. Once again, please forgive me. It's not COVID, and you can take your mask off. It's not contagious. John remembered Jesus saying this: love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not do dishonor to others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Love never fails. There are these three: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. My friend, I know that I'm talking about reaching beyond yourself, reaching beyond your comfort zone, your self-imposed safety zone. But you see, we have to do that because we can't express our magnificence, our Christness. We can't be a blessing to the world right now in the way we're living, because studies show that we are having up to 60,000 thoughts a day. 60,000. And you know what? Studies also show that 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday and the day before and the day before that. What a waste. Your magnificent mind, my magnificent mind, recycling the same thoughts day after day. Do you know why we do that? Because it's a self-imposed safety zone. As long as we just keep traveling around in the same circles, then we don't have to worry. One of the most magnificent beasts on the planet is the thoroughbred racehorse, and magnificent beings. And they go around on the track, around and around and around on that same track. Oh, they're fast. Oh, they're beautiful. They never go anywhere but around and around on the track. Is that us? Are we just going around and around on the track? Is that what we are incarnated for? We were spiritual beings. We were part of the great ocean of God. And we said, I'm going to become a wave. I'm going to raise up out of this, and I'm going to become an individual wave. And if we did that, did we do that just so we could always be the same, look the same, act the same, experience the same things day after day after day? We have to risk, don't we? We have to get outside of that. But you're not in this alone. See, if you have to do this alone, you can't do it. And I know that. You have to have a team of people who believe in you. Well, not only do you have a well-trained, superbly well-trained staff of professionals, spiritual leaders available to you here at Unity of Vancouver. I'm telling you, I have been involved in many, many, many churches across America and Canada. And I've never experienced a team that is as professional and as dedicated to the Christness as this team. You can trust them. Be a part of this through the internet, as we're doing now, or whatever. And I'm not saying this to bolster the membership of the church. I'm saying this because I know you need this, as I do. Why I've become senior minister here is because this is the place where it's happening. So if you can then quell your self-doubts and accept who Jesus said you are and who you came here to be, you'll find within you the ability and the power to move mountains. Yes, to actually move mountains. Let's listen to Tom and his trio back this up.
Even on the darkest day, shines a brand new light. On this night before Christmas, we're gonna sing with all our might. The coldest night shall be warm, the strongest wind can be stilled. With this joy we sing at Christmas, let every soul be filled. Yeah, we'll celebrate the love, the season of giving is here. Celebrate the love at Christmas time. We'll celebrate the love with the ones we hold so dear. Celebrate the love at Christmas time. There's no harm in singing, have no fear of letting go, because the healing is in the music. Just sing and you will know. Let Christmas be the start. Let giving set you free. Raise your voice, lift up your heart, and celebrate with me. Come on now. Celebrate the love. The season of giving is here. Oh, celebrate the love at Christmas time. Yeah, we'll celebrate the love with the ones we hold so dear. Celebrate the love at Christmas time. Oh, we'll celebrate the love. The season of giving is here. Come on. Celebrate the love at Christmas time. Oh yeah, we'll celebrate the love with the ones we hold so dear. Celebrate the love at Christmas time. We're gonna celebrate the love at Christmas time. We're gonna celebrate the love at Christmas time.
Yes. We're going to celebrate the love at Christmas time, because that's the Christmas spirit. That's what we're here for. My gosh, there is nothing more powerful than love. Love freely given is love freely felt. What comes out of us comes into us. What we give to others, we experience. That's the magic of the universe. The apple tree in the forest or in the field that was dropped, the seeds that were dropped there maybe by Johnny Appleseed, gives off a ton of apples every year. And the deer eat them, and the squirrels eat them, and the birds eat them. And the seeds fall into the soil, and new apple trees come. But if the apple tree didn't give apples, then it soon would die, because it had have no purpose. And you have a purpose, and I have a purpose, and that's to give love, to be love, and to give love. And the largest block to our spiritual growth, and we came here to grow in wisdom and joy, the greatest block is our resistance to truth, our resistance to what is. It somehow has become unsafe to live in what we know to be true. It's become safe only to recycle our thoughts and to hide from any external truth. We have our belief systems, which are always just belief systems, initials BS, belief system. And that belief system, it sheltered us from who we really are. And so when I come to a place in my life when there's a reality that I don't want to accept, and if I don't accept it, I can't move on, incidentally. If you're into a situation that you can't accept, you're stuck there, because the way the universe works is that you're going to deal with this until you get rid of it. My dear friend Terry Cole Whitaker taught me that what you resist persists. It's so true. What persists resists. What you resist persists. And I have a mantra that I use over and over daily when I'm in a position where I find myself resisting. And that mantra is, it is the way it is. It is the way. It is the way it is. It is the way. Interestingly enough, if you say that over and over again, it sounds like this. It is the way it is, 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 the way it is. See, what I'm saying is it is the way it is. And I'm also saying it is the way. And I'm also saying the way it is. It just goes into your brain and it changes your perception, because it says the way it is the way. And that means that the Christmas spirit can now come out. The Christness spirit can now exude out of me, because my resistance and my beliefs are not in the way. Dr. Seuss, marvelous man, incredible artist, gave us this following statement by the Grinch. The Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled and puzzled until his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't thought of before. What if Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store? What if Christmas perhaps means a little bit more? Last night, we celebrated the birth of a little baby boy named Joshua. But it was also the awakening of Christness in our hearts and in our world. And it's like a great banquet table, isn't it? Laid out in front of you. And you step up to the table and there's something that you like, salad or macaroni and cheese or whatever. And so you start eating that and you say, oh, I like this. I don't trust all that other stuff down there, the rest of the line. So I'll just stick with this. Then you don't grow. But if you move, then you're challenging yourself. And if you come to something you don't like, you are stuck there until you like it. And that's the banquet table of your life. That's the path into Christness. In the Christmas spirit, my friend, you are the living, breathing Christ. And that Christness, that joy, that Christmas joy, that Christmas joy is not just a good feeling, and it certainly is a good feeling, but it isn't just that. It's also strength. It comes with a strength. If we accept ourselves as divine, if we accept that we are here on spiritual sacred missions, then we are infused with a power and with a strength that we otherwise don't have. We have self-confidence and we have optimism, and that goes on moment by moment as we say and we think, all is well and all will be well. John also from the scripture said that Jesus said, I have spoken to you so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be made full. See, he isn't going to be wasting his time talking about some nonsense. He's saying that his reason for being here is to let us be filled with joy, because he knows that that's the foundation, that that's the wellspring of who we are as spiritual beings. That's the wellspring of confidence. That's the wellspring of wellness. When he saw a leper or somebody crippled and they reached out and touched his garment and said, please help me, please help me. And he looked down and talked to them for a minute. And he said, get up and pick up your pallet and go home, you're fine. And they did. And then he didn't say, oh man, I'm a cool dude, look what I just did. He didn't know that, he didn't see that. And we have to learn from this. He said, your faith has saved you. He didn't say, I've saved you. Your faith has saved you. Your belief, your trust in something greater than yourself. And of course, they felt this, the ambience of the Christness from him, and it was so pervading and so overwhelming that in fact they did get well. But you have that in you. You have the ability to do that. If you want to know God and worship God, you know, and we have all of these churches and all of these ways of worshiping God. Quite frankly, and I hope you don't be offended by this, God doesn't care at all about being worshiped. God's not insecure. God's not a man, not a guy in the sky. God is the great presence of all, in every tree, in every leaf, in every rabbit or kitten or child or song or painting. God is present in that. It's the magic in that. It's the life in that. That's God. And if you want to worship God, then you must find joy and live joy and be joy, because that's the food of the angels, joy. And that's the presence of God, joy. And then we're doing what we came here to do. Hope, then, and joy, and love, and faith. They are our path. And they are our staff.
I will work until the sun falls, then I will climb that hill. I will wear a cloak of starlight against the winter's chill. I'll join the shepherd's vigil like so long ago, gaze upon the ancient heavens, a guiding star will show that little child, his mother fair. Lowly beasts, heads bowed in prayer, in that stable so forlorn, the hope of all the world was born. Let us join the angels singing this night with frosty sky. Lift our eyes with voices ringing, shout his name on high. Mary's little baby brought light to you and me. He turned weeping into laughter. Search your heart to see that little child is mother fair. Lonely beasts, heads bowed in prayer, in that stable so forlorn, the hope of all the world was born. We are summoned to the cradle each December time. Celebrate the new arrival, good news for mankind, the coming of our Savior. The word we've longed to hear is that Christ is born within us, to conquer all our fears.